The Department of Public Health and Human Services is pleased to bring you Aging Horizons. Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, fraud, legal issues, veterans benefits, and caregiving. Aging Horizons is a program dedicated to inform and prepare Montanans on these timely issues, making a difference to you and your loved ones. Here now is today's program host.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Aging Horizons. Today we have our special guest and he is going to be telling us about the dangers of winter driving, what we can do to help prevent some of those dangerous situations we find ourselves in. So stay tuned and we will be right back.
If you knew your next door neighbors couldn't afford to stay warm this winter, you'd want to help, right? Thousands of our fellow Montanans and Montana businesses are stepping up with a tax-deductible donation to Energy Share Montana, a nonprofit that helps more than 3,000 of your Montana neighbors stay warm this winter. Find out how you can help. Call 888-779-7589 or go to EnergyShareMT.com. Thanks, Montana.
It's been 27 years. I never thought I'd still be smoking, but here I am, COPD and all. I'm about to have a granddaughter. There's so much to show her, but I'm scared I won't be able to keep up like I used to. I kind of gave up on myself on quitting. But it's different now. I want to be here for her and for my daughter.
Hey, caregivers, did you know that respite time is your time? How will you spend it?
How about some good old-fashioned me time for starters?
Michelle Smith, Helena.
Or maybe play a high-stakes game of volleyball with my other kiddo. Gotta teach him who's boss, you know? I could even make my famous spinach lasagna. Never hear any complaints about that.
Montana Lifespan Respite. Respite for caregivers. It's okay to need it. It's okay to want it. It's okay to get it.
Hey, Mom. More lasagna, please?
Sometimes the difference between having the life-saving medications you need and going without is the premium on your Medicare drug insurance. If you're a Montana resident enrolled in the Medicare prescription drug program, you may be eligible to receive help with your premiums, even if you own your home or other assets or think you may have too much income. Call or visit the Big Sky RX website today to find out if you qualify.
There you go, ma'am. See you next month.
Thank you.
We're back. I'm your host, Wilma Collins. This is a program brought to you by the Montana Department of Public Health and Human Services. And today we have a special guest, Mike Anderson. He is the loss prevention specialist at the Department of Administration. Mike, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
So let's get straight into it because I know we have a lot to cover when it comes to winter driving. What is winter driving? Is it different from summer driving? What is it?
Well, it is. Winter driving basically is all about traction. You can do the same things in the winter as you do in the summer. You just have to do them a little bit differently. You have to maintain that traction. And so there are a lot of different ways to do that. You don't want to lock up your tires. You don't want to spin your tires. You always see people in the wintertime, they get stuck and they're spinning the tires. That doesn't help. And if you're going to be traveling here in Montana in the wintertime, we suggest that you take certain things with you. Like this is a tool kit, blankets, shovel, first aid kits. What I do is I put it all into a big tote.
Okay.
And I put that, if we're taking my wife's car, we put it in there. If we're taking my pickup, we put it in there. That way, if you get stranded, and hopefully you never do, but if you do...
But the possibility is there.
The possibility is there.
You're in Montana.
I mean, yeah, you hear about it all the time, and people know that Montana's huge, for one thing.
Right.
And we have brutal winters. And sometimes you can leave here, like when you're traveling, understand what you're getting yourself into. Right. It might be a beautiful day here in Helena, but it might be the storm of the century in Billings.
Right.
And we can have several different weather cycles going on at the same time in Montana. And so know what you're getting yourself into and be prepared. But probably the one of the other things that you should consider with winter driving is this time of year. It's first, week in October. You should get your car looked at. Okay. Make sure that it's ready for winter. Check the battery, check the antifreeze, check the window washers.
What about those tires?
The belt, yeah, the tires are a huge.
Because you spoke about traction.
Right.
And if you're talking about traction, you better have those tires.
You better have good
tires.
tires.
Tell us about the tires.
Well, there are several different types of tires. There are summer tires, there are all-season tires, and then there are winter tires. Winter tires are really good because they're made of a softer rubber. And even when it gets below zero, they stay soft, and which allows them to get traction on the ice.
The ice.
Yeah. But you can also get studded tires, you can get mud and snow tires. I mean, there's a lot of different ways that people try to maintain that traction.
So
but a lot of it is not the tire, it's the driver.
The driver, you're right, I hear you.
And so
tell us, is there different tire pressure for winter and different tire pressure for summer?
Actually, there's not.
Okay.
Most tires, and every vehicle has it right on the driver's door post.
Right.
You open up your door and you look at the post, and it will tell you what the recommended tire pressure is for that vehicle. And one thing this time of year when it's starting to get colder is you want to have those, either check them yourself or have them checked by a shop. Because when the temperature goes down, the air pressure in your tires also goes down.
Oh.
And so you want to maintain the proper pressure to have that ultimate traction.
So let's talk about starting a cold car.
Okay. A lot of people, manufacturers nowadays say that you don't need engine heaters.
In Montana, we'll always need you, right?
Yeah. Car manufacturers don't live in Montana.
Right.
And so I have engine heaters in all of my vehicles. There are several different types. You can get a block heater, which is probably the best. You can get a dipstick heater. You replace the dipstick.
Right.
Magnetic, radiator hose heaters. There's different ways of doing it. But if you need to park outside, or even in an unheated garage, it's best to have your vehicle plugged in.
Right.
I use zero as the mark at which I plug my vehicles in. Anything below zero, I plug it in. Will a car start at 20 below? Probably will. But think of all the wear that you're putting on that engine, to start it.
Right.
And so why not have an engine heater? You can also get battery heaters because batteries, lead acid batteries, are very susceptible to temperature. When the temperature goes down, so does the output of the energy of that battery.
Whoa.
And so they actually make battery warmers. You can get a blanket that goes around it, or you can get a piece that goes under the battery.
Now forgive me, I'm not too literate when it comes to cars and winter driving, but when you put the blanket over the battery, it won't burn or anything?
No.
Okay. Because I'm sure other people are thinking the same thing.
Yeah, no, it's designed to go around the battery, and it actually has a cord, and you plug it in.
Oh, okay.
And you plug it in, and it heats or it warms, I guess, the battery.
Okay.
And so if you have a warm battery, it puts out more energy, helps to start the vehicle. To help
the car, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So, Mike, thank you so much. I know we still have to address the emergency kit and all of that, because it's very important that we travel with these things during the winter and all of that, because Montana is big, like you say.
Yeah.
And we got to be prepared for whatever happens when we're driving. We got to talk about how the defenses, the different winter defenses. When we come back, we'll be talking about the different winter defenses.
Okay.
So stay tuned, and we will be right back with Mike Anderson of the Department of Administration. We'll be talking about winter driving. Stay tuned.
With as many as 1 in 10 Americans at risk for Alzheimer's or some other form of dementia, chances are someone you know and love will receive that diagnosis. When that happens, you may well feel devastated. But know that you are not alone. Help is available. You don't have to face dementia by yourself. Call the free 24/7 Alzheimer's Association helpline, 800-272-3900, for guidance and support.
Every generation produces heroes, men and women who step forward to defend our country in time of need, no matter the personal cost to themselves. And though we can never fully repay them, we can make sure they have access to low-cost, long-term care when they need it. That's what Montana's Veterans Homes are all about. If you've got a hero in need in your family, call us. We can help.
Medicare loses $60 million in Montana each year, $70 billion nationally. Medicare processes 4.5 million claims a day. They don't know who your doctor is, but you do. Mistakes can happen.
Read your Medicare statements and call Montana Senior Medicare Patrol if you see anything unexpected.
1-800-551-3191. This project is supported by a grant by the Administration for Community Living.
You've probably seen some big-name celebrities on your TV lately talking about all the Medicare benefits you're missing out on. But the insurance companies who are paying for these ads may be pushing benefits not available in Montana. Fortunately, help is available from a friendly state health insurance assistance program counselor who can help you sort it all out. It's free, and we screen everyone for eligibility regardless of your zip code. It's Montanans helping Montanans. Call today.
I was angry and upset when the doctor told me I have diabetes. I just didn't want to deal with it, the needles and the diet restrictions. But after I started to learn about it, those feelings changed. I was at risk for a heart attack caused by high blood sugar. That got my attention. I started watching my diet and making sure I got enough exercise every day. I want to be around for my grandkids, and now that I know what to do, it seems like a small price to pay.
Ask your doctor about diabetes education or visit montana211.org.
We're back, and we are talking about winter driving, and we have as our special guest Mike Anderson. He's the loss prevention specialist at the Montana Department of Administration. Mike, I mean, we've been listening to all the valuable information you've been giving us, and I see you brought some stuff that you consider emergency kit. You put in a big tote. So tell us about these different stuff you got here on the table, and I know you got some under there.
Yeah, the kit actually fits in a fairly small tote, easy enough to carry around. This is an emergency toolkit. I put this together myself. You know, one of the things you should have in here is a work glove. Now, you say to yourself, this isn't going to be very warm when you're working on your car in the wintertime, right?
It's still warmer than not.
Yeah, these are not meant to keep me warm. These have a sticky surface on the palm, and so if I need to change a tire or if I need to put on tire chains, my hands will stick to those tools using these. The thing is, I don't want to use my good winter gloves because if I get these wet, then they're no good to me. Because you always have to be thinking about hypothermia in Montana. And so if these get wet, they'll just wick the heat right out of me. So I use these, and the kit, the rest of the kit, there's jumper cables in here, and then there's just some basic tools that I threw together. A couple of screwdrivers, a flathead and a Phillips, a couple of different kinds of pliers, you know, just some of the basic.
I don't see flashlights.
I don't have a flashlight with me, but you should probably carry one. Also, you should carry a blanket. I carry this one. This is not to keep me warm. This is to put down to keep me dry. If I have to work on the car at all, I lay this out over the snow, and then I can kneel on it and keep my clothes dry. If you get your clothes wet, again, it'll wick the heat right out of you, and you'll be in trouble with hypothermia.
So where do we get all these? Where do you buy these?
Well, actually, you can buy a kit, a winter survival kit, at any of the box stores. And you can spend anywhere from $15 to $115, depending on how fancy you want to get with the kit. Or, like me, I just put this together myself. Another piece of the kit is this. This is just an unused paint can.
Okay.
I went down to the hardware store and got it. I've got a candle in here.
Okay.
This particular candle will give you about 2 days worth of heat and light.
Oh, wow.
I got matches, you know, to light the candle. I also have in here, these are chemical hand warmers. And what you do is they're filled with chemicals, and all you do is manipulate that, and it'll stay warm for about 6 hours.
Okay.
You can get a whole case of these for like $5-6. And then you should carry some food with you, right? I got a couple of energy bars in here. I will say, though, make sure that you check these once in a while.
Because it could be spoiled, huh?
This is my training kit, and so these are about 8 years old.
Oh, geez.
So, but if I were stranded, I would probably eat them if I had to. Yeah, absolutely.
Have something there.
Some of the other things, this is a shovel. You know, you can get plastic, but what happens to plastic when it gets cold?
They break.
It gets brittle. Yeah, so I spent a little bit more money, got the aluminum
metal one.
And it's the handle pulls out, you know, and so works really well. I also have a first aid kit that I carry just in case you get cut or something while you're putting on a tire or putting on tire chains, things like that. So it's relatively simple to just be prepared. And other things that you would want to throw in are a good coat, maybe snow pants.
Some socks.
Yeah, like wool socks, good boots, gloves, a scarf, a hat. Very important to have a good beanie hat because you lose so much heat through your head. Yep.
You're so right.
And a lot of it, you know, is just common sense, I guess. You know,
because we can get all of these things from one store.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because we see these things every day, really.
It's common things, yeah.
Yeah. So let's quickly talk about some of the good winter defenses.
Okay.
Yeah.
When you're driving in the winter, you want to do everything more gradual than you would in the summer.
Right.
And what I mean by that is when you're changing lanes, or when you're turning, or when you're coming to a stop sign, you want to ease onto those brakes.
Right.
You know, instead of hitting them hard. When you're leaving a stop sign, you don't want to spin the tires, things like that. And again, it's all about the traction. If you maintain that traction, you can still do whatever you want to do.
You bet.
But it's the people that are still driving like it's August. They're the ones that you see in the median or in the ditch. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to be careful. You're right. You're totally right, because I know my kids call me grandma when I'm driving so slow in the winter, because my driving differs from winter to summer, you know.
Oh, absolutely.
Because I get that winter phobia, you know, where I go really slow, and I'll advise my audience to do the same, you know.
Right.
So, Mike, thank you. We're not done yet. I want you all to know that we're coming right back. We have more information for you. So stay tuned. We still have to talk about whiteout. We still have to talk about skid control. So there's just so much more Mike is going to impart in us. So, ladies and gentlemen, get your coffee. And we will be right back with you. So stay tuned.
Sergeant Jones. Please respond. I was separated from my squad. Requesting backup. Anyone? Please respond. I'm all alone here.
The human heart. Even at its strongest, it's a fragile muscle. Chest and arm pain, shortness of breath, are signs of a heart under attack, but 3 numbers can save a life. Dial 911 at the first sign of a heart attack. Quick response from medical experts can save your life.
I was 45 and it happened to me, a heart attack.
Dialing 911 saved Ryan's life. Now he's here and he's healthy.
This message sponsored by Mission Lifeline Montana.
I think the most pleasant surprise when we turned 65 and signed up for Medicare Part B was finding out about our Welcome to Medicare preventive visit.
It was free, and it gave us the opportunity to visit with our doctors and establish a plan for our health going forward.
They reviewed our medical history, measured our height, weight, blood pressure, and counseled us on other risk factors.
To learn more about Medicare's free or low-cost preventive and wellness benefits, call your local SHIP counselor at 800-551-3191. I mentioned it's free, right?
Twice.
Can you say ombudsman?
Ombudsman.
Benson? Uma Doodlesman? Fortunately, you don't have to say it right to get the help of a long-term care ombudsman. If you or a loved one reside in assisted living or long-term care, an ombudsman can help resolve any issue. And these services are completely free and confidential. Now, why don't you try that again?
Ombudsman. We're back, and we will continue our discussion with Mike Anderson. We've been talking about winter driving, and he's been providing some good information. But we'll have even more information for you. So let's talk. Let's get back to what happens when I'm stranded.
Well, if you get stranded, and you never know when you're going to get stranded, you might take the wrong turn or something, or just simply get stuck on a road where there's not a lot of traffic.
Mm-hmm.
And the main thing I want people to know is stay in your vehicle, right? That provides you shelter, and it gives, as a former emergency responder, I can find that vehicle. I may not be able to find you if you get out and start walking, because you can literally be covered over with snow in 10 to 15 minutes.
Oh, maybe shorter than that.
Maybe shorter than that. But I can find your vehicle. So some of the things that I'd like to talk about, we talked about this kit in the last segment.
Yep.
But one thing is, what you can do with this is you can go outside your vehicle, fill it with snow, and then get back in the vehicle, use your hot plate, right, and your candle, and you can heat the bottom of that, and you can melt that snow. But one thing I want you to be aware of is I want you to get that water up to at least room temp, if not higher.
Right.
Right? Because what happens if you ingest 40-degree water? Your core temperature will plummet.
Drop.
Yes, absolutely.
So make sure
it up. Make sure it's at least room temp, if not higher.
Okay.
So that's another great use of that.
Wow. Yeah, you're right.
Kit.
Totally right. I didn't even think about that. Thanks. So let's talk about how do we handle whiteout? We're in Montana. I've been in whiteout, and it's scary.
It is scary.
It is very scary.
One of the tools that I use is I have amber glasses. Now, I don't know if a lot of your audience carries amber glasses or not, but I have. They're
is
like
that what we see on TV? They advertise on TV?
Kinda.
You can see clear.
You can get them. They're like safety glasses, and they're yellow. They're amber.
Yeah.
And what that does.
Yeah.
Sorry. What that does is it gives you. It helps you differentiate between flat surfaces and like piles of snow, because that's what happens in a whiteout. Is everything is white, and so you lose your depth perception. Really is what happens. And so if you put on the amber glasses, it gives you back some of that.
Okay.
But you still have to proceed very slowly and because it's still a very dangerous situation.
You bet. So, let's talk. Skid control. What is skid control?
Skid control is if you're going down the highway and all of a sudden the car is sideways, there are 4 steps that you need to do. First is let your foot off the gas. That one's pretty easy.
Right.
Second one is really tough, and it goes against every instinct that you've ever had, and that is do not hit the brakes. Do not.
That is hard.
It is hard because when you get in trouble, when you get in a situation like that, your instincts tell you hit the brake.
Hit the brakes.
So let off the gas. Do not hit the brakes. Look at where you want to be, and then steer to get there. So what I mean is, if you're going down the road like this, and all of a sudden you're sideways, look back at where you want to be, and then steer to get there. Okay, but the problem is, skid recovery is a learned skill. And so you should go out and actually practice it. Put your car into a skid and try it out, because if you're out of control just a little bit, you need a little bit of counter steer. If you're out of control a lot, you need lots of counter steer, right? And then as the car starts to correct itself, you need to lessen that input.
Correct.
Okay? And so it's a learned skill. It really is. Find a safe parking lot,
and practice.
An abandoned road or something, and go out and put your car into a skid and teach yourself.
Well, hopefully you won't get into an accident
right
while doing that. So emergency braking. Mike, let's talk about emergency braking.
Emergency braking would be like if a deer comes up in front of you.
In the winter on the ice.
Yes. Same thing in the summer, though. And what I want you to do in that instance is never swerve when you see an animal. And if you're driving in Montana, you're gonna see animals. That's just part of the deal. I've been driving for a little over 50 years here in Montana, and I've hit 8 deer. In that time.
You're counting, huh?
I'm counting, yeah. Yeah. So, my point is, whether it's winter or summer, hold that wheel steady and do a controlled brake. In the winter, you won't be able to do as hard of a brake because you don't want to lock up the tires.
Right.
But you do the same thing, just not quite as hard.
So Mike, we have been discussing quite a bit of information today on winter driving. We talked about how to maintain our tires. We talked about how to start a cold car. And most importantly, we talked about the vehicle emergency kit. That is, we should not take that for granted because that's huge when it comes to getting stranded. We talk about how to get ourselves out of stranded. We talk about whiteout, what to do in whiteout. I don't know how to thank you, Mike, and my audience thank you also.
Yeah.
So we are very appreciated. Thank you. We have been talking to Mike Anderson, and this has been Aging Horizon. I'm your host, Wilmot Collins. See you next time.
Special thanks to the Department of Public Health and Human Services for their continued support. Hosts on Aging Horizons are program specialists at the Montana Office on Aging. Production facilities provided by Video Express Productions. For more information about Aging Horizons, call the Department of Public Health and Human Services toll-free at 800-332-2272.